Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
How are you doing? How's it going?
Watching the snow.
Oh, how has it been? How was yeah, no, was it did you was it a oh wow. No, it's beautiful.
It's very pretty, yeah. It started about an hour ago. There was
Uh-huh.
already snow from the last time. Apparently, it's going to go on for a bit and then it's going to turn to rain tomorrow. But
Yes.
okay, how are you? How's it
I
going?
am good. No, I am very good. We have had light flurries, nothing that's stuck. There has been, yeah, it always just turns to rain. So, yeah. But how was the last week? How was it in the city? Did you get 10 inches? Was it?
No, it's fine. It was
Yeah.
okay. It was very cold. Very
Okay.
cold.
Yeah. No, it was. I mean, well, for here it was pretty
Yeah,
cold too.
yeah.
But yeah.
No, it was all right. So did you have your meeting in the capital last
I
week?
did. I went to Olympia. I met with four. Yeah. No. No. We had. I had four meetings. We sat. We got to push our agendas. There was another. I because my district has a lot of because a lot of employees at our agency live in my district. I was with a different district, so usually I'm with my own representatives. One of whom I actually saw in the hall and got to wave down. And originally I had been scheduled to have a meeting with them,
Right.
but just because I'm more experienced, I was asked to go with these sort of less experienced people. But it's always interesting when you're not their constituent. They just kind of look at you differently. You're not. They're like, and where do you live? And I'm like, well, I'm in the 37th, and it's almost it's kind of funny. Like they're
Because you
focused.
won't you have no vote value to them.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
well, right, no, right. And yeah, no. At one point, someone asked, where our offices were, and we said, Kent, Renton, Redmond, and they said, well, where in Kent? And then we're trying to like figure out if our office was in their district, I'm like, I don't think this really. But I get it. I get what they're. So that was interesting. Yeah, that was a newer experience for me. But it was no. It was very cold that day, and so we had a rally on the steps, and that part was the hard. Like with the photo op where we're all together and holding up our.
okay? Yeah,
That was that was at the end, and that was chilly. But beyond that, no, it was a great day. I'm always glad to do that. I really enjoy it.
good,
Yeah,
good.
and
And you
then
think it was worthwhile? I mean, productive?
I'm. It's again in a budget year where there are where we're in a big deficit. It's really hard because we understand that everyone is coming to them with different priorities. We got some good information, some feedback from as far as like what does convince you, what would convince you. Someone said, graphics, so like charts and graphs that really show. And so we didn't bring a lot of that, but that helps us sort of craft our message to moving forward. No, yes, it's always productive. I still think it's going to be an austere year for Washington. I mean, I think it's going to there's going to be belt tightening, and I don't know what that's going to look like. But yeah, so you kind of called it. Your mayor, I guess all is forgiven. All charges
Well,
dropped.
it's he is now. I mean, that assuming that the Justice Department will find a judge who will agree to drop the charges,
Right.
and the chief, the woman who resigned over this, the main woman who resigned
Yes.
over, she kind of happened to add that they also have him on bribery and destroying evidence, which they haven't actually got to yet. And
Right.
you know but it means that he is now he is Trump's fool until for the next 11 months because he won't get reelected, so he's only
No.
going to be there for 11 months.
Yes.
And for that time now he owes everything. He owes his freedom to Donald Trump.
Right. Who says I know
He
nothing
has to
about.
do whatever Donald Trump wants him to do, which will make him even less likely to get elected, to get reelected.
Right. Well, yeah, no, I'm sure it's just a complete coincidence that he's now opened up Rikers Island to immigration officials. That's just complete.
Well, yeah, well, it's actually the quid pro. It's one of the quid pro quos.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to have to kiss the ring every day,
Yes.
and that embarrasses him with his constituents, most of whom are not Trumpers. And plus, it has not been, the charges have only been suspended. So, in other
Yes.
words, if he gets out of line,
Yeah.
boom, right?
Yes.
He's back in the crosshairs. So, but it does prove certainly that a whole bunch of Republican uh, appointed um, lawyers were prepared to resign immediately because of this. I mean, immediate, without thinking twice.
Yeah.
They said, "We this is not legal. It's
Yeah.
not just. You cannot you cannot suspend this simply because for political reasons." And the amazing thing is that the guy at the Justice Department made no bones about the fact that
Yep.
the only reason that they were doing this was for him to be helpful to the president,
Yes.
right?
I still don't understand whoever. I mean, to me, Adams was always like a kind of RFK Democrat. Like whoever believed he was a Democrat. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand.
I yeah, I don't know. I think he was Republican at one time, maybe.
He was a police chief. He was very openly
Oh, he was a
Republican.
police chief. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. And yeah, so 7 people have resigned. Trump, of course, says, I know nothing about it. They asked him directly, but it's his top guy who's doing the negotiating. So, I mean, that's whatever.
Well, he doesn't know that his vice president is giving Ukraine away in Europe,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, and oh no, that's his foreign
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
secretary. And JD Vance is telling the Germans it's okay to vote for Hitler, you know. I mean,
yeah. No, okay, I was watching a documentary. It was about Veselka, the Ukrainian diner that's like near St. Mark's. It's been there for like 70 years or whatever. And it's interesting because it goes through the modern era, it goes through the pandemic, which of course hits all restaurants, and then of course the Ukrainian war starts, and so this is in the heart of little Ukraine, little Kiev in New York, and the employees have relatives who suddenly they can't get a hold of anymore. And then in the middle of all of this, who enters the documentary? Eric Adams, who I just forget is just kind of a New York City schmoozing. He's going to be there. If it's a restaurant, if it's a photo op, he's going to be there. And so he just ends up, it's just very bizarre. I don't know. It was just a strange
was that
story.
recently made, or was something he did a while
It was,
ago?
no, it was made in, I mean, the documentary was completed in 2024, but this is footage probably from 2022. It was kind of like,
Okay.
pandemic is over, let's revitalize back to
Yeah.
restaurants, but he made an appearance. No, it was just, yeah, I didn't realize how modern era the documentary was until that moment. Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah.
He popped up,
Yeah.
like Zelig or something. Yeah, like he's in. Yeah,
Yeah.
they probably gave him free meals for a week or something. I don't know.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
back room. When I think a couple of years ago, when that group I've mentioned that I meet with, or used to meet with in Washington, we don't know what's going to happen. The cultural blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We had the first evening of each week when we meet, we go out to dinner, a no-host dinner. We take ourselves. Almost everybody comes, but the State Department chooses a restaurant, and the one they chose that time for obvious reasons, was a Ukrainian restaurant in Chicago. We were in Chicago.
Yes.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
they chose a Ukrainian restaurant in Chicago, and it was pointed out to us as we went in, we could wipe our feet on Putin's face, which was which was the doormat.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
He was the doormat. So anyway, yeah, it's weird. Did you see the thing about David Johansen?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
very sad that
Yeah.
he's it was a GoFund. I think he has a GoFundMe page,
Okay. Yeah. Uh,
which is really I mean, I don't know what it says about, I don't know whether his what it says about the music industry, or maybe he's just gambled or something like that, but that a
no.
guy like that shouldn't be able to pay for medical treatment, you
Yeah.
know. It's,
No, musicians don't, and Chapel Roan called it out on the Grammy stage. They don't have any kind of health insurance, benefits, retirement. I mean, actors do. Actors union is a lot different, I guess. Some of those unions were started by like Charlie Chaplin and some of the the
yeah,
silent era stars, and so they've been at it a lot longer. Musicians have always been a kind of like paid cash under the table, get paid out of bar receipts the next, you know what I mean? It's never been, I mean, even though there are executives who themselves have benefits and all that, musicians, it's never been organized the same way. And no, that is yeah, no, and he's a huge icon to me. I mean, yeah, that hit me hard.
did you know that, I don't know if you are probably too young. I went once to visit Marcia Trinder,
Yes.
and she lives in the building north of the Dakota
Yes.
on Central Park. You were there once to watch the parade.
No, I remember where I was there more than once. Yeah,
You
yeah,
were
yeah.
there more than once.
Yeah.
Okay. I went there once maybe to pick you up, but I think Mick Jagger lived in that building
Huh.
and Carly Simon lived in
Huh.
that building. And I went one evening. I don't think I don't think I was with your mother. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I went to visit. I went, I think, to Marcia, but I went to Carly Simon's apartment, and they were gathering there to go with David Johansen to go and see Sylvain's first performance
Yes.
as a single artist,
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
And I remember seeing Jerry Hall there in the apartment, but she
yeah.
didn't come with us. But Carly Simon came, and Marsha and David Johansen. I remember, and of course they just heckled I mean, it was like
Yeah.
family, and they were heckling Sylvain and clapping.
For sure. No, for sure.
It was memorable to me, obviously, because of all those people.
Yeah.
I guess that was like a hyper. Although, but that was, I don't know if he'd become Buster Poindexter yet, or maybe
Right.
he was.
I mean, honestly, that was the first time I became aware of him, and you telling me like, this is a character. He has a whole separate like this isn't this is his style of. I mean, this is a persona, and backtracking it and being like, oh wow, that's really wild because his glam persona is also flamboyant and theatrical, but in a very, very different way. Yeah, no, he's yeah.
No, it's very clever. I think it's an interesting trajectory.
Yeah. But no, well, no. I mean, if you think of it, yes, I think Buster for the '80s, for exactly where it was a repackaging exactly of now that, how celebrities have to with different eras. How do what do all the hair metal bands do when it's suddenly 9-inch nails and more industrial? Do you cut your hair and put on some eyeliner, or do you just stick it out and keep doing the same thing that you're doing? most of the ones that cut their hair and tried to do a different sound regret it. They made one or two albums in a style of, and then trends come back around and that classic metal rock sound is back, and so they abandoned it pretty quickly. But or they had,
So
you know,
they would have been better off sticking with it.
yes, yes, I think so. But then at other times, I think other artists have multiple creative pivots, reinventions, and some fans will be on board for all of that. Other fans will, I mean, it's
And then if all else fails, go country, right?
that. I mean, yeah.
Ringo, whatever.
Okay, so back to Washington Cultural blah 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 Kennedy Center.
The guy that he shoved out has
Yeah.
been one of the most generous donors to many cultural centers across the country. And he's not, I mean, I think he's been a Democrat, but basically everybody I know says this guy is like one of the cultural heroes because he's made a lot of money and he's giving most of it to things like the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
To fire that guy, I mean, it's yeah, and he puts himself in charge. So who's going to be performing? Kid Rock?
I know, no, I know.
I mean, seriously, I don't think there are very many performers in his camp. Are there?
Right, no, right. And I mean, well, it is yet to be seen whether, I mean, well, they're all, yeah, and who,
It's going to become a music hall for people like Kid Rock. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that, I mean, it's just,
well, he's
yeah,
also paving over the Rose Garden.
yeah.
So,
That's,
because he wants to have a dance floor and a patio like at Mar-a-Lago. There's Mara White House now.
yeah. The no, but I mean the fact that this is what he's focusing on, the fact that I mean it's and puts himself in charge, like he's doesn't have anything else to do or should be focusing on, and B, like he knows anything about the arts. I mean, for my calculations, so apparently this all came about because there were 2 drag shows, and they put on about 1,200 shows a year. So we're talking about thousands and thousands of shows.
Well, but that's all. You only need one, actually, I would think. I don't know. No, he. It would be funny if it wasn't so tragic. But
Right. And well, no, because I mean, I think he went after the arts because he thought it was something he could, and that it was just, that people aren't going to fight it. But I think people need to see, because it's not, the chairman, Shonda Rhimes, who resigned. I mean, she's one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood. She was the treasurer. So you have these really talented people working for this organization who are either now been fired or resigned immediately. But that's happening across the board. Like this kind of brain drain, this people who know what they're doing exiting quickly and being replaced by 20-year-olds who pledge fealty, and that's it. That's their only qualification. Is they fired the people who are responsible for like nuclear things, and then realized they don't even have the mechanism to figure out who they are to get them. I mean, it's the scary part is here.
I think he's always had a very deep-rooted insecurity, particularly about culture, because
Spy magazine made fun of his hands.
and the time he lived in New York, I think he felt put down by a cultural elite
Yep.
that he now considers to be liberal or democratic. Not that they necessarily are or were,
Right.
but he sees anything that is culture with a capital C or intellectual or really any form of creative endeavor or expertise in any area, because he thinks he knows everything. So
Right.
if he
No, I mean,
knows
yeah, I
everything,
mean,
he can fix
I mean that.
everything. Why does he need pointy-headed experts who are going to tell him things that he's not going to be able to comprehend them anyway?
Right, and you can't just make everything up when you rely on facts. So those people who rely on facts are the ones to be distrusted, or the ones yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, actually, this business of banning certain news outlets from press conferences is, I mean, that's a standard right-wing dictatorship move.
Yeah, no, it's very authoritarian, and they're very open about it. But they've convinced people that their reasoning is correct. But no, I mean, the whole Gulf of America thing, which is, I mean, to me, it's wild that we now have a version of the internet just for Americans that Google and Apple are just going along with. And the press that won't go along with that. If your newspaper still says Gulf of Mexico, that is now openly their reasoning to not allow your access to. I mean, it's so the press. They're kind of they're strong arming the press into.
Yes, yeah, it's blackmail, and it's actually they claim that they're doing this for free speech, but it's actually the opposite. They're
Yes.
stifling free speech, and if you disagree with me, I won't let you in the room, right? So
Yes.
the next thing is they'll take away their credentials, they'll close them down. He could close down NPR, he could close down Voice of America, he could close down. I mean, those things have, he could easily close them down, right?
Yeah. Well, I am I NPR still gets the majority of its funding from. I mean, it gets government funding, but it still gets the majority of its funding from private and public donors. So I mean, I think it will. I mean, well,
I don't know if they could, some of them will survive, some of them will
right?
survive.
No, yeah, no, no, no. I mean, it would. Yes, he could have devastating impact, and probably. I mean, it's. I'm sure it's on the list. So, yes.
So we were debating there's a demonstration, uh, I think in Union Square tomorrow for
Uh huh.
President's Day.
Yes.
Um, I just wonder, I mean, I can see if 1 million people marched on Washington, it would have an effect.
Yes.
But a demonstration in a blue city that hates Trump, I don't know what effect that would have. I mean,
Well, I mean, have you? They've been demonstrating in Los Angeles for about a week straight. It's barely making national news.
I
Kids are,
haven't even seen that.
yeah,
See, I didn't
kids
know.
walked out of high schools. I mean, I think it's a both and. I think. So at the end of the month, they're planning a blackout on February 28th, where the idea is no one buys anything really. I mean, unless it's necessities, and if you have to buy necessities, buy it from a local business, but try not. But specifically, all these big corporations like Amazon and Walmart and all
Oh, okay.
who dropped their DEI, who donated to his
Yeah.
inaugural fund, which is basically a slush fund, like to really to, but specifically, but also all of it that to show we collectively still have an effect. Because I mean, even just one day, the effect on the economy it could be measurable. So I think things like that. But again,
That I understand. Yeah, that
yeah,
I understand.
I personally have found less and less value of marching in the street, and that I don't know if that's just a I'm getting older thing. But from what I'm reading, I mean, it really is. It's the courts. It's the people who are fighting these laws in the courts that are going to make more of a difference than just protesting in the street.
I think I think that well the protest that I read about today, which was kind of stunning, was when um oh Hesketh, the defense guy, and his wife,
Yes.
because she has something to do with education, they went to visit, they were going to visit American schools on military bases in Europe,
Okay.
Holland, and then
Yes.
they cut it down to just one. And the middle school students and their teachers walked out.
Oh, good. Yep.
So
Yeah, yeah.
this is these are these are military
I know.
students.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah. He was Hegseth was booed in, I think, at a base in Germany too by
soldiers.
yeah, 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 yeah. So no, I good. She's on. She's Usha Vance is on the. Oh no, wait. Yeah, yeah. The Kennedy Center.
Hance's wife is of Indian extraction, right?
Yes, she's on
Yeah.
the board of the Kennedy Center thing.
She's been put on the board.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, she's very useful then.
Okay. Yes. No. 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 I mean, yeah. No. And then, so he installs his own board, and then they elect him head of the.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, Kanye was already saying things. Then he prints T-shirts with swastikas. Did you hear about this? And took out a Super Bowl ad.
Well, yeah, I heard about that, and I also saw the AI generated.
That's actually what I wanted to talk about. Two things. One, I wanted to talk about how he was dropped by his agent the day after. Why does he still have an agent in 2025? Like, he said these things years. I don't understand. Like, who are these people who keep working with him and then being like, wow, he still believes this? I thought that was 2 years ago. I thought he was over that. I thought he got it out of his system. No, that's who he is. He's not, and it's not just saying things. He's printing T-shirt. Like, it's, so there's that. And then, yeah, no, this AI. What was your thought on that? Because that, I mean, yeah,
Well, I saw it, and my immediate reaction, because I didn't know it was AI,
right,
I thought, wow, how did they manage to do that so quickly?
right.
So, um, and I think Woody Allen was one of the people.
Sure.
And then I thought, come on, this is a bit strange. But then I thought, well, they're all Jewish, and I mean, you have to pick up the phone, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's celebrities. So, and then of course I read that it was all AI, and that Scarlett Johansson had complained about this.
Yes.
Not that she wouldn't have done it,
Right.
but that she didn't know she was doing it. You know what
Right.
I mean?
No, yeah, no, and yeah, well, I think there are a few things. And one, she's the only celebrity who's spoken out against it, which I do think is interesting because it's been like a week now. She's been outspoken in the past because she's been the victim of sort of the deep
Voice,
fake.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, where they
Did
put
they
your.
steal her voice for something?
Oh yes, no, they've stolen her voice for things. They've also, it's pretty common to take her face and put it on someone else's naked body on the internet. So she's been an outspoken person about this for a while. So it's not surprising she would be against it. But of course, yes, she was very, very clear. I support the cause. I mean, you don't get to use other people's voice like that. And the people who made the video their take is very interesting because it's it's an advertising agency, but their take is, well, it's not for money, so it's not. It's just a creative endeavor, so it falls under satire, and it's a really important cause, so that's more important than. I mean, their take isn't even cohesive, and it's. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, but they're avoiding the question that these people they're suggesting these real people have this position, right? They're making these
Right.
assumptions,
Yeah.
right? And that they would put on these T-shirts
Right.
and give the finger, right?
Right.
and all of them separately might be perfectly willing to, for no money at all, to take a stand,
Yes.
public stand against anti-Semitism, but not necessarily in that particular way or form or shape. Or
Right.
so
And
I think I think it is invasive, right? Um, uh, and the fact that it's for a good cause, or a good cause according to, X million people or whatever, doesn't justify it. They're saying the ends justify the means,
right. No,
right?
that's right. Right. Yeah. 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 And then similarly, someone took footage from football. Trump at a football game. I think it was a college football game. Added in booze and said it was from the Super Bowl, and it got shared and liked and went around until it had to be debunked as fake. And it's like, I, if the argument against Trump is they are the party of misinformation and lies and things, I wonder where we're headed. Where you see what I'm saying? Like where the
Yes,
people who
yeah.
oppose him are using the same tactics
Well,
to.
you're actually, you're I don't know, they're lowering the bar and you're going with that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like it ends up being two toddlers in a sandpit. You're descending to that level.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, and again, much like Musk, Yi, after his outburst and being dropped and things, then again mentions that he is bipolar and or autistic. Again, neither of these things cause Nazism. Like I think it's just these are not like it needs to be said because these people keep using this as an excuse and it's yeah
I
and
think
it's
it's interesting that he self-diagnosed himself as bipolar, and then he changed this self-diagnosis to autism. I don't know whether
well,
he's
the convenient thing is because of HIPAA laws, you can't confirm. There's no way to confirm it, so they can say whatever they want and get. But real communities really, and it actually does cause harm. I mean, and as much as the anti-Semitism, but it's. I don't know. Anything else from the Super Bowl? Did you hear about Serena Williams dancing and how apparently
no, I didn't. I followed it afterwards.
Yes.
I read in fact, there was a lengthy and very, very specific article by, I think, a Black female scholar who went through it almost bit by bit and basically um, identifying all of the different historical relevances
Yes.
of Samuel Jackson and what his
Yes.
book
Yeah. Yeah.
is and why she did it. Yeah, I thought it was. I'm sorry, I should actually go and watch it now. I guess you can on YouTube, right?
It is. It's only
That
12
was
minutes.
that was the movement that she was booed for doing 10
At
years.
the well, she was no at the time. I don't think any at Wimbledon. No one even.
Fox News
It
did.
was the commentators who turned it into a news cycle the same way they did. Let's remember the time Obama wore a tan suit. Obama's tan suit controversy has its own Wikipedia page because they made it a multi-day cycle because the whole premise was the president wearing a tan suit isn't dignified. That's it. That they that
I
so
mean, I mean, we're talking about dignity in the president today. I mean, how can
okay.
we be doing
I mean,
so? Yeah.
Jesse Waters went on Fox. This is like a month ago with footage of Kamala Harris and her husband in a grocery store to ask his viewers with apparently a straight face, who goes grocery shopping with their wife? Like that is that is it. Period. That's the criticism.
What?
This is a real
This
clip.
was
You
a
can find.
criticism of who? Well, of her, of him.
Again, why? I don't know. They found footage of them in a grocery store, and this is all they
So
can.
if you're a politician,
anyone.
Well,
Yeah. Don't men
how are
don't
the
grow.
politicians supposed to get groceries? Are they, I mean, if the politicians are rich enough to have housekeepers and things, then they're corrupt, right?
Right. Well, I mean,
Are you there? Are you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
I mean, either way, they could have had a photograph of. They could have filmed Kamala Harris's housekeeper
yes.
buying groceries and
And then
saying,
there,
"Look,
yeah, she doesn't even
right?
buy her own groceries. Yes,
She's enslaving somebody, right?
they would. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, of course. I mean,
You
they
can't
can criticize.
win with that."
Yeah. But no, I do. I think, I think the Super Bowl performance was actually quite powerful. People question the why didn't he play this, that, or the other song. I think they really did tell a narrative, and I think that was more important than sort of the medley of hits that artists often use the Super Bowl performance for. So no, I thought that was really powerful. And then there was a one dancer who unfurled their own flag for Gaza and Sudan, who have now gotten themselves banned from NFL stadiums for life, but no charges were pressed. So
Well, I'm sure that was an individual choice,
it
and
was no, it was, and yeah, no, everyone said it was,
if
it
you're going to
was,
employ that many people, I'm sure that probably,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm all for people standing up and waving flags in front of stuff, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that nobody got killed,
No,
right? Uh, but they didn't show Trump. Did you watch it? Did they
I
show?
watched it, and I don't know. I mean, if they, I didn't. I mean, I watched it about as much attention as I can give a sporting event, and I felt like I watched it from the beginning to the end. I didn't see Trump, so if they showed him, it was very much in passing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do know that when they showed Taylor on the jumbotron, she got booed. But I think that's less for her. That it was an Eagles. It was clearly an Eagles crowd, and so I think she was there in red. She was there as it wasn't her the artist. It was her the
No,
Chiefs fan.
it
So
was her choice of boyfriend or whatever.
and predictably, Eagles fans went wild afterwards. I said before, I guess last week, I find it hard to root for either teams, and Eagles fans are some of the reasons I find it hard to root for them. Though that is the team that I'm glad they won, and I'm glad they won decisively. It was fun to really watch this team that has elevated themselves to kind of the we're just the best kind of. To see them really struggle was yeah, no, it was a good game. It was actually I enjoyed it. What else? What's coming up this week for you?
The dentist,
Uh,
the dermatologist. I don't know.
yeah.
I have work to do, but I'm not going. I'm just going into the city tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be there. And Victoria goes back to Minnesota on Wednesday because her mother's having a very major operation on Thursday. The
Okay.
one she had was preliminary to this,
Okay.
and this is kind of this is
Yeah.
hopefully this will sort it all out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's all good. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
work, health, looking after my health. You looking after your health?
Trying to. Yeah. 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 I am.
Good. Okay.
All right. Have a good
Love you,
week.
Bob.
I love
Have a
you.
great week.
You
Okay.
too.